Who knew? Who knew way back in 1995 that this obscure movie out of Hollywood would have gotten things so right? For those of you who haven't seen 12 Monkeys, I would highly suggest that you put it on your list of things to do when you've got an hour or two to kill. Because now, apparently, there is something monkey-related floating around on the wind that could cause a great deal of problem for those who might have a compromised immune system for one reason or another. Who knows? You see, we haven't gotten any official dictates yet from the Ministry of Truth about what our authorized beliefs are. And until we do so, we should probably not even bother to form an opinion or speculate or even talk about it, should we? Should we? For those of you who don't think psychological operations is important, I have news for you. It's about to be the single most important thing you can do to prepare. Prepare your mind. Some have come to me and said, Florida Maquis, I totally agree with that, but my mind is already prepared. I am already ready. I have all the tools I need. I know what I believe. I know what I don't believe. I am already set for whatever might come, and I don't want anybody or anything challenging my preconceived notions. See, that's exactly what the enemy wants. Who remembers Rush Limbaugh and his EIB, Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies? What was the motto? Where the learning never stops. And believe me, in the military, there are a lot of guys that think once they're out of official training that that's where the learning ends and it's just time to tread water. Military intelligence is not one of those places. You are continually learning, reassessing yourself, those around you, the direction. You don't always openly question it, but you continually learn and you continually grow. See, back then, way back in the 80s, things were done a little bit differently. We didn't necessarily condemn certain things that we knew in the long run might help someone. Maybe not at the moment, but in the future. You see, now we have this idea that whatever you know at the moment, that's the only thing you should hold on to. With two fists, like a vice grip. You're either over here or you're over there. And there's nowhere else in the middle where anyone can possibly respect you. I'd like to, in today's video, highlight something that I think a lot of people have missed. Speaking of people who are owed apologies, now I'm sure a lot of you know who the person on the left is. Some of you might know who the person on the right is. But prior to 2020, you might not have liked either one of them. But right now, they told the truth. They stood up at their own peril, ready to lose everything, and told the truth. And you would think, well, gosh, they must have come from the same background. They came from completely opposite backgrounds. And only 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, most conservatives would have dismissed both of them based on their backgrounds. But somehow now, in their adult lives, they have come around to a singular truth. Now, what is this? See, Jenny McCarthy, on the left, for many, many years, made statements about vaccines, her beliefs, based on her observations and observations of those around her who she trusted. And she was vocal and she was vociferous about it, and virtually every single conservative on the planet dismissed her as a kook. And a lot of Democrats did too. On the right, Trish Regan from Fox Business. Now, Trish Regan's background and Jenny McCarthy's background, about as stark a contrast as you can get, but they both came to the same conclusion, that the authorities could not be trusted. What you were being told by those in power was not true, and you should not trust them. Trish Regan was fired unceremoniously from Fox. And, of course, Jenny McCarthy had been demonized for years at this point. Trish Regan comes from a wealthy family up in the Northeast in New Hampshire. And she has lived a life, I'll give you these links, that you would expect of a rich Northeastern woman. Now, it's not her fault that she was born into money. Early life, Patricia Ann Regan, December 13, 1972, Hampton, New Hampshire, crowned Miss New Hampshire, Miss Deerfield Fair, Miss America pageant, Phillips Exeter Academy with honors, New England Conservatory of Music, and Austria's American Institute of Musical Studies, Columbia University, cum laude with a BA in U.S. History in 2000. Exactly what you would expect. Current net worth, $30 million. Jenny McCarthy, current net worth, about $25 million. But what about her early life? Born November 1, 1972, Chicago suburb. Raised Catholic, three sisters, working class family. All-girl Catholic high school. Mother Macaulay Liberal Arts High School, and joined the cheerleader squad. Bullied, felt like an outcast. Her career was launched 21 years old. Playboy magazine offered her $20,000 to pose nude. And after that, movies, all sorts of different opportunities, West Coast versus East Coast liberal. But somehow, they've come to the same conclusion. How could that be? How could that be? You'd have to imagine growing up in New Hampshire, Trish Regan, she was raised liberal, Democrat. First job out of college, investment bank, Goldman Sachs. Hedge fund, D.E. Shaw. CBS Market Watch. See, this would have all been a territory where you would have had to have been a liberal Democrat. All of it. Jenny McCarthy, suburbs of Chicago. Got a good hard lesson in the realities of life young. But yet, somehow, some way, they came to the same place in life. Regarding the authorities. Regarding those who would say, believe ABC, XYZ, or else. Luckily, both of them had already built a platform of their own to land on. And they can still speak. You see, you look at Jenny McCarthy's history and you would think, I could never trust somebody like that. I could never trust somebody who would do all of these things and pose all of these different ways. There's nothing they could ever say that I would ever believe in because I just don't trust their morals. Don't judge books by their cover. Judge not, lest ye be judged. I guess unless it applies to someone like this, doesn't it? You see, those same evangelicals who would teach you this were the same evangelicals that were keeping talents like Tanya Tucker and Shania Twain and different ones out of music. Why? Belly button. See, there was a rule in Nashville that any woman that had ever exposed her belly button in public could not get a record contract. Look that up. That was how conservative they were. And that's how conservative people were all the way up to prior to 2020. Because I guarantee in 2018 or 2019, if I had started making videos talking about Jenny McCarthy, I would have been laughed at. I would have been laughed out of conservative circles. Oh, how can you listen to her? How can you listen to her? She's a West Coast Democrat, liberal. She's taking her clothes off for money and all. You're an idiot, McKee. You're dumb. You're stupid. You can't. If you can look through all of that, and you have the ability with your mind to put what is irrelevant to the side and listen to what's being said, then you'll know the truth. Then you'll learn the truth. We learned this at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Now, why is this important? Why am I including this image? You see, just to be selected for Army intelligence, you had to have some really, really high test scores. I did. On the ASVAB, the Armed Services vocational aptitude battery, ASVAB, that's what that is. And then they give you another test called the D-Lab, the Defense Language Aptitude Battery, to see if you're even have an ability to learn languages. So you pass those two tests, and you qualify to try to become Army intelligence. And then you go through basic training. You, just like everyone else, you have to graduate that. And then you go to the language school, the Presidio of Monterey in California. And very few of those who try graduate from the Presidio. I did. So by that time in the military, you think you've pretty much got it figured out. You definitely think you are smart enough and way smarter than everybody else to just breeze on through, get your enlistment bonuses, and just be the cream of the crop, top of the heap. Well, when you get to Fort Huachuca and you go through the interrogation school, they knock all that out of you very quickly. And you learn exactly what you don't know. And it is a humbling experience, interrogation school, SEER school. They teach you exactly that you are no better than anyone else, and if you are not always on guard with your mind, you will be targeted and you will be taken advantage of. Don't ever think for 1 minute that you are too good, or you are too smart, or you know too much, or you're too moral. Because that's never the case. That is never the case. There are those out there just waiting for you to do that. Just waiting for you to make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. And like I said, prior to 2020, if I had said you should be listening to this young woman, listening closely to this young woman, this is all people would have done. They would have gone to Google and they would have shown me all these images and they would have said, that's it, Florida Mucky, you've lost your mind, you've gone girl crazy. There's no way anyone like this could say anything that I would remotely be interested in listening to. You just like girls in bikinis too much and blah, 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 blah. But yet, what do we know? A Northeastern liberal raised by Democrats in heavily blue states, and a girl from Chicago who had a real rough lesson in life early, who posed for Playboy, they both got it right. They both got it right, and you should have listened. So I'll leave it there. If you would like to continue to learn, continue to train, join us over the Florida Mucky Patreon channel. It's only one lowest allowable level US dollar per month, less if you sign up for an entire year. Believe me, you won't regret it. God bless, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.